Hey guys, Ultra Maximus here, and I'm back with another 3D review. This time we're going to take a look at the Blu Ray 3D disc, Prometheus. And I've had this one for a couple weeks. I just now got to sit down and watch it in 3D. This is a film by Ridley Scott, and it's kind of a prequel to Alien. Kind of, and I'm going to talk about that when we get into it. This movie is, I think, $29 to $35 at retail. I picked it up at Walmart, and I paid $29.99 for it, which is not a bad price. That's about the average price of Blu Ray 3D discs. And as usual, I want to take a look at the cover, the disc. We'll talk about the film itself. We'll talk about the 3D, you know, the usual shtick that we go through. So looking at it, we've got Blu Ray 3D, Blu Ray, DVD, and digital copy. We've got this nice lithograph cover to the film, and it's got questions will be answered with over 7 hours of extras, alternate beginning and ending. I have not looked at those yet, so I cannot comment on them. I will probably take a look at them at some point. It's the digital copy is an ultraviolet copy. The back, here's the back of the package. General look of what a Blu Ray 3D looks like on the back. Questions will be answered. And we got some scenes from the movie. It's got that nice little sheen. And it's got a picture of the discs and digital copy. You can watch it anywhere, blah, 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 blah. Side of it. This is actually a pretty thick case. You can see it's one of the thicker ones. This reminds me of the cases for Alice in Wonderland and those types of films. It's the same exact cover here that we see on the slipcase. It's pretty much the norm. Inside, we've got this is how you get the ultraviolet Blu-ray. We've got the Blu Ray 3D disc. This one is the Blu Ray disc. And this is the special feature disc. And then we have the DVD and digital copy, which I always prefer when they put the digital copies on a disc itself to give it to you. I don't like downloading it off the internet. I don't know why. Even though I don't ever use them, I just like to physically have them. Just something I've always liked. I really do appreciate the discs. The Blu Ray 3D disc is from a scene in the film where the android figures out how to use the computer and the navigation system. It's pretty cool. Here's a picture of the engineer, or an alien. We called it the, what did they call them? A jockey? Space jockey? Yeah, the space jockey. That was the nickname for it. We have this disc, which is very cool. This was in a scene where they find these vases and a big statue of a human-like head, and this was the painting of Muriel, as they call it, and it's essentially, they're aliens from the Alien film. It's a Geiger piece of art, which is kind of cool. And then we've got, I believe that's Dr. Shaw looking at all the vases, and I'll talk about that as we go into the film. So yeah, there it is. Pretty nice set. Looks attractive. Looks cool. Talk about the film itself. I initially did not get to see this in 3D. I saw this at the Cinemark second run theater. I did not get a chance to get into the theater to see it, unfortunately. They released it at IMAX 3D, and I really wish I would have got to go see it, but I did not have the opportunity. I was traveling, and just did not happen. But I did go see it at the theater. I saw it at, like I said, the Cinemark, but it was in 2D. So this was the first opportunity I've gotten to see this film in 3D, and I really I like the cover. Ooh, shiny. I really wish I had the opportunity to see it at the theater in 3D. And I'll talk about that when I get into the 3D. So, the film itself. What is this movie about? Essentially, there are two characters, Elizabeth Shaw and Charlie. I can't think of the guy's name. Charlie and Elizabeth. They're these, not paleontologists, archaeologists, I guess. Then they discover a very ancient cave painting in Scotland, and it matches stuff they found in Egypt and South America and all these other ancient civilizations that are worshiping the stars, and they're pointing to worship these giant aliens from space. And there are similar situations that scientists have found. They're not saying they were space aliens or anything. They believe they were gods, and that goes down that road in archaeology and ancient cultures. But in this film, they're saying, well, hey, look, they're telling us to go here. And they match this star configuration they found, and they figure out where it's from, and they send the Prometheus, which is the ship, to this place to hope to discover what they call the engineers, because they engineered us. That's their theory. So they go, they find these ruins. Charlize Theron is in it, looking hot. And she is a badass, hardcore bitch in this movie. I really, really dig her character. She is a hard ass, and she does a really good job at it. This is a character I've never seen her play before, and she's awesome. Unfortunately, her character dies. Ugh, that sucks, because I would like to have seen her in a sequel. Well, the android that's in the film is Fassbender, played by Fassbender, and he was in X-Men First Class. He was Magneto, which he did a phenomenal job as Magneto, and he does a great job in this film as David the Android, which it really shows his talent as an actor, because in this film, he's soulless. He's not evil, per se. He's doing what he's told by Weyland, the guy who runs the company, and it's the company that sends the mining crew out in the original Alien film. But he does some pretty immoral things because he doesn't have morals. He's done what he's programmed. And there's a nice sub-layer in this film in the fact that, you know, he probes Charlie, who is an asshole. It's a classic, you got this really nice girl who's got the biggest, douchiest bag boyfriend ever, and he ends up dying, and I'm glad, because he was a jerk and dick, and I didn't like him, and that's, I think, what the character was supposed to be. But it's classic, hot chick, great personality, super douchebag boyfriend. And he dies. Love it. But the android kind of probes him, and, you know, what do you want to find when you meet these aliens? And he was like, well, I want to ask him, why did you create us? And the same kind of thing, the robot is kind of attempting that, you know, well, you know, what do you think, you know, why did you make us, you know, the robots? And he's like, well, because we could. And the robot's like, what if you get that kind of answer? So there's some really interesting plays there with that, where the humans are so much wanting to find out who they are, where they come from, why did you make us, why did you see us on Earth? And the robot's kind of like, well, kind of asking me the same thing, guys. But the humans are like, whatever, you're a robot, whatever, you're a robot. So there's some really interesting inner moral and morality type things going on there, and that, I find that fascinating. This is probably the best film of the year, and I'm going to use the word film. It's not a movie. This is a film. It's very engaging, and plot, story, the vehicle that drives this story, and the character development in this is phenomenal. And Ridley Scott said that he wanted this to be not an actual prequel, and it's not, because they don't directly tie into the Alien film. It's the same space jockeys, the same kind of ship that we see in the first Alien film. However, the aliens are a little different. They are in the film, but they're not the aliens that we see in the Alien saga, the Alien films. They're before that. They're early prototypes, and we find out their weapons. And we see it kind of evolve, and at the end we see this giant facehugger get this space jockey, and it puts an alien in him, and it bursts out at the end, and it's a very raw, basic version of the one we see in the Alien films, which is kind of cool. It almost looks dinosaur-like, but that's pretty interesting. And they go through, and they're scouting this, and they kind of unleash the little aliens, and we watch it evolve, and it goes through and starts killing people, and we go through the whole turmoil of that, and Weyland's on the ship, and he wants to find out, and this engineer, space jockey, whatever you want to call him, just flat out doesn't like us. I mean, he kills us, he wants us all dead, and they're going to go to Earth and drop these things off and kill us all off, and we really don't know why. And it sets it up at the end for a sequel to it, which I believe they've greenlit a sequel project for this, where she's going to go to their homeworld and find out why, what's going on. So very cool stuff, very good film. Good job, Ridley Scott. And this is more of a science fiction thriller than a horror. There are some horror elements to it, but it's more of a science fiction thriller type of deal. So, talk about the 3D in this film. Excellent. It's obviously shot with a 3D camera, and what I like about this, and this is important in a 3D movie to me, you have three different kinds of 3D movies. You've got ones that are shot with 3D cameras, one that are post-produced, which those aren't all bad. And then you get the two, I'm going to throw things at you in 3D because it's 3D, and you get what I prefer. Everything is set up in a cinematographer's point of view of 3D. So we see a lot of really great landscape shots, especially at the beginning and towards the end of the film. We see a lot of computer equipment on the ship that is positioned appropriately to give that nice deep feeling. We have more depth in the movie. There are things that pop out, but it's more as camera angles are rolling around that way. The space scene where the ship first comes into the atmosphere or the orbit of this moon, and we just see things flying like rings and rocks and comets and things, just looks phenomenal. And when they're dealing with the aliens and things are flying out, there's a sandstorm that's really cool, and that's probably the closest thing of things coming at you, because you got a bunch of little debris hitting and you're in the middle of this, and it really kind of gives us great depth. So the 3D in this, astounding. Probably, I would say this is the best 3D film that I have seen since Avatar, and it gives Avatar a run for its money. I think Avatar has more in-depth scenes in 3D than this one does, but by far it is the #2 3D film I've personally seen, and I've seen quite a bit of them. So yeah, is this something I would recommend? Absolutely. This film is rated R. There's no nudity in it, but there are sexual content, sexual scenes in it. There is a scene where there's a cesarean of this alien coming out that's a little graphic. A lot of graphic violence in the film. Nothing that I would say a 13-year-old or older could not watch. So, definitely not for a little kid, but I don't know if a 13 or 14-year-old would really be into this. This is kind of a very cerebral film, really. But it is a good movie. It's long. It's something, if you're an Alien fan, you're definitely going to enjoy this. If you're a Ridley Scott fan, you're going to enjoy this. This would make a great Christmas gift. Christmas is coming up. Would I recommend this for your 3D collection? Absolutely. Must have. I would put this in my 3D collection. Well, I've got it in my 3D collection, but I would definitely recommend that you pick this up. If you can find it on sale, very cool, very good. It should be about $30. If it's $35, it's still worth the money to buy and put into your collection. So there it is, Prometheus. Highly recommend. Great film, great characters, great look, fantastic 3D, everything you're looking for in a Blu Ray 3D. So there it is, guys. Prometheus 3D. Thanks for watching, and look for more videos in the future.